I'm Matthew Placzek, and this is Imagine.
Imagine. Hi. The sweet and playful nature of childhood and the potential to live and grow and learn if that child is nurtured and protected. Today, one piece of artwork symbolizes the whimsical spirit of children being lifted up and away from their troubles. Sheltered by umbrellas and showered with light, this is Imagine. Art. It has the ability to draw you in and let you imagine. It's rich in symbolism and can speak volumes when words cannot. I'm KETV Newswatch 7's Julie Cornell. Come along on a journey to explore this piece called Imagine. Photojournalist Peter Soby takes us behind the scenes to show us that art and medicine really do have a lot in common. There's a sense of calm here, in a place where medicine and art are companions in the healing process of little ones.
How much does he weigh? 7.5.
Here, there's a firm belief that a healing environment is one that lets young patients imagine.
All right, get on the scale. 58 pounds. Yeah!
Omaha's Children's Hospital and Medical Center wanted to continue a sense of playfulness and nurturing care throughout their new addition.
To create an environment that is warm, welcoming, an environment that feels safe for children, an environment that says children have been here before.
So they invited Omaha sculptor Matthew Placzek to let his imagination take over.
This is the top. She'll be on a 15-foot pedestal.
The Grand Island, Nebraska native studied art at Creighton University, sharing his talents as a professional artist for more than 25 years.
Hopefully what I'm portraying is a real heartwarming scene and something that almost takes you away from what you're dealing with that particular day.
In the wide open spaces of his Midtown Omaha studio, imagination meets creation.
I wanted to capture the imagination of a child.
His ideas first take shape on a tiny scale.
The name of this piece is Imagine. It makes the hospital a place that might not be a scary place now, but it's a place that has that wonderful sense of nurturing and caring.
The artwork spans an 80-foot staircase in the new Children's Specialty Pediatric Center.
So all of these figures are larger than life. I made them larger than life kind of on a monumental scale because the building is so large and we wanted a great impact there on 84th and Dodge.
The art begins outside and moves into the large glassed-in staircase.
What I developed is a piece that shows children playing with umbrellas, and then the umbrellas are floating up the staircase 76 feet.
An artistic process that takes more than a year to complete, using an ancient process that dates back 6,000 years. Dozens of creative minds and hands add their touch. Each statue has crude beginnings. Metal rods form a skeleton for the pieces. It's an inside support called the armature.
Metal's the beginning of the piece.
The rods are connected and posed.
So the hips turn, shoulders straight.
Then, Placzek uses styrofoam to give the pieces dimension.
It provides support, structure, and also the form of the piece.
Sticky packing tape holds the styrofoam to the rods. Foam insulation fills voids. Then the artist shapes the foam figures that'll act as a base for the warm sculpting clay.
I like to melt it so it becomes liquid, and then I paint it on my figures, and then I can carve it away and shape it and then redo it again, and that's my method of working.
Layers of clay create the attitude of the piece, with careful attention to clothing, texture, and expression.
I like working on the clothing because every fold's different, and The whole clothing can actually tell a story of the movement of the body, and then also really working on the expression of each different character in the piece. They're all experiencing this joy and wonderment, but I want them to each have their own unique expressions, and what they're experiencing hopefully I can portray that on their face and coming through their actions. My daughter posed for this one.
As Placzek creates in his Midtown Omaha studio, the hospital undergoes a 5-story transformation.
Good job, I'm getting a really good picture.
With examination and procedure rooms designed specifically for little ones. As the building moves forward, Placzek's pieces take a journey to Loveland, Colorado, a place known for its rich heritage of artistry and craftsmanship. This is Bronze Services, a fine arts foundry at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains.
This is a fairly hot vat of wax.
Placzek's clay forms are just the beginning of this process.
We've got to be in concert with a lot of different people. You know, in sculpture especially, there's a lot of people have to touch it to make it work. Anywhere down the line, I mean, from mold making on,
There we go.
they've got to hold true to what the artist's vision is of what they wanted the piece to look like.
Here, skilled craftsmen operate on the clay pieces, cutting them apart and making wax molds of the now leather-hard clay.
This right here is called wax chasing. And I'm going to return this to basically its original, close to its original form as possible by taking off the flaws. One of the biggest things I got to do is this seam line created by the mold.
Molds that will create lasting bronze impressions of the children. The wax is inside those plaster casts.
All right, let's do this. Here we go. That's 1,682 degrees what it was when I opened it. It's about as hot as you can get. Even through your safety equipment, you can really feel that temperature. Okay, go ahead, pull it up. I mean, you can feel it on my hands. Got it. You really feel it on your chest. Got it.
Now it's melted and replaced with molten bronze.
You're pouring, bud.
The liquid bronze is more than 1,900 degrees.
I've got the glory job, that's all there is to that.
Mike Pfister's done this work for 22 years. Each piece, like each patient, significant and different.
We don't do widgets here. We don't do cogs, we don't do gears, we don't do rocker arms, we don't do body parts. We do art. Art is an individual piece. It doesn't matter if you're doing 100 fish that look the same, each one of them is individual.
The molds cool, and like surgeons, the skilled artists set the bronze pieces free. Now the craftsmen make those pieces whole again.
It's kind of like a giant jigsaw puzzle. They'll have to weld it back together, find the right pieces.
This is where art meets engineering.
The bronze is kind of a skin around a substructure made of stainless. And this is going into Tornado Alley, so I'm trying to make it so it doesn't fall over off of one foot.
Now in bronze, they recreate the detail the artist envisioned.
To make some of the textures, we have to use hammers and chisels and a lot of air tools. It's not like carving clay where you can use a clay tool and it's real easy. It takes quite a bit of time and metals.
Many hands a part in rebuilding and creating.
It just shows you how much it takes to make a community and to make beautiful things in a community. Pull the doctors, pull the people who did the construction and all the patients into one huge community, and that's really what the art really does.
Back in Omaha, we examine the art of medicine. Tiny lives are being improved.
Everyone ready?
Here at Children's Hospital and Medical Center,
How much does he weigh? 7.5.
an infant is prepped for surgery.
Gas on.
The baby boy was born premature.
It is a laparoscopic fundoplication, gastrostomy button, and tracheostomy.
Dr. Shahab Abdesalam is in charge in the OR.
We need this to be fast, we need it to be efficient, and we need it to be as least traumatic as possible.
He knows the enormous responsibility he holds in his hands.
Got some big blood vessels on his esophagus. They're giving your child to you. It's got to be scary. I have 4 going on 5 children of my own. To me, I go over the entire operation in my head. every detail, go through it, get away from the liver, get away from the liver. There you go. So basically I go in, very focused, know exactly what I'm going to be doing, and just boom, 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 keep everything efficient, and get the case done. Pull it back a little bit.
The skilled surgeon will do 3 procedures to help stop acid reflux,
Pull that through.
improve the baby's feedings,
Now we're going to put a bite in the diaphragm.
and reduce lung damage.
And now try to get your retractor under that muscle. Something that is as complex as this, and you need literally 8 different hands to be doing things at different times, it is 100% team. All right, so hold this right here.
I have it.
Abdesalam is also a pediatric cancer surgeon and a critical care specialist.
Follow me up, yep.
With 3 specialties, he has a passion for little ones.
The thing that probably really pushed me more than anything was just that the innocence of the children, in that they didn't bring a lot of the diseases upon themselves. In adults, you're more operating to prolong the inevitable, where in children you are operating to give them a whole lifetime. Pull back, pull back, pull back. There. And what makes my job pleasurable every single day is the interaction that I have with the parents and the utmost gratitude that they express and the appreciation, and I get that over and over and over again, and it's such a wonderful feeling, and I don't know that there's any other job in the world where you can get that. Hold right there.
Okay.
And be careful.
Impacting young lives by applying the art of medicine to science.
I would call it art. You're taking tissue that is damaged and making it into something that is functional, practical, and oftentimes more beautiful than it was when you got it.
Like an artist, using tools and talents to create change and offer hope. No doctor works solo, nor does the artist. Sometimes art comes from unlikely places. This is quality manufacturing in Urbandale, Iowa. In brand new building number 4, dozens of craftsmen work on Placzek's pieces.
We do metal fabrication. We really don't have our own product that we make for this company. We get pretty good at the widgets, so it's kind of hard to get the shop thinking a different direction every now and then.
Paul Hauser is the drafting manager here. His company typically creates parts and pieces for tractor company John Deere. These days, giant umbrella parts reign. Here, welders and metal workers piece together the skeletons for 23 acrylic umbrellas. They'll adorn the piece at Children's Hospital.
We're wrapping the lights, then we're going to test them to see that all these LED nodes work so we can synchronize them. The most difficult thing is trying to get the light placement so you don't see the light bulbs.
Each Placzek piece pushes the limit here.
Well, you can see the rings, and I don't like to see the rings. You can see it in your camera. We're going to cut them out.
You know, it's always really exciting. He'll bring a piece in, and he'll call me and tell me about it, and then I'll run down and tell the company president, you know, that we're hopefully doing another piece for Matt.
It starts with little models and mock-ups.
So what we have to do is kind of take that model, scale it up.
On a giant scale.
And usually it takes a couple times, you know, to get exactly how we're going to fabricate it.
Like this section of the 76-foot spire that'll support the lighted umbrellas. It's stainless steel and weighs 7,000 pounds. Art that'll showcase a commitment to healing.
We know children. We know how they grow, why they grow, and when it's time to make adjustments for growth. So we're expanding areas of expertise and attracting leading specialists nationwide. As long as children keep growing, so will we. Children's Hospital and Medical Center. We know children.
Looking good.
Many minds and hands had a role in creating this new addition.
Pouring the concrete back in here.
Some with a tender, lasting connection.
Dodge Street runs out here, so this is where all the curved area would be.
Like steel draftsman Chris Olson.
One of the bigger jobs that we have.
He lives in Shenandoah, Iowa with his wife Holly and their second baby, Morgan.
You do patty cake? Patty cake? Patty cake?
It's just one of those things that you kind of put your whole heart into.
Chris works for Drake Williams Steel in Omaha.
And where the existing building is over here.
He was part of the planning before the building started to take shape.
Elevators over on this side of the building. I helped do the actual drawings of the steel. I worked with an engineering firm and everything, and actually put everything into a 3D model and actually kind of started pulling out piece by piece to help the shop be able to build it, which then helped the field, helped to erect it.
At the same time, Chris and Holly Olson's first daughter, Brooklyn, became ill.
I had noticed a couple days that she was sleeping a lot and getting sick.
Area doctors knew it was serious.
Why did this happen to her? Why did it happen to us? How do we make it better?
Brooklyn was rushed to Children's Hospital and Medical Center.
Dr. Thompson came in and finally told us that through blood work they found that she had ALL.
Acute leukemia. They would treat it aggressively for more than a year.
She's always smiling. No matter what kind of treatment or anything, she always wanted to smile.
At age 2, her little smiles faded.
Her laughing. She could count to 12 all by herself.
They also remember the constant care and comfort from nurses as Holly stayed with Brooklyn in the hospital for weeks on end.
Because we were there all the time, and it's just like they were family too.
They were partners in Brooklyn's care.
They just tried to comfort you to make sure you knew what was going on, what kind of treatment they were going to have to try and start doing.
The staff at Children's was a lifeline for her mother.
I went after maybe 2 months after Brooklyn passed away, and everybody's just like, oh, Brookie, they called her Brookie, and we miss seeing her and hearing her running in the halls, and it's very comforting to know that they still think about her and will always remember her.
Memories of their first child are a part of the Olsons.
This one is Brooklyn playing in the house at the outpatient clinic at Children's.
Pictures and poems have a special place here.
It's just a good way to remember her in the good times.
Pretties. Look at the pretties.
Baby Morgan is growing and thriving.
Who is that pretty baby? Who is that?
And the couple knows a lasting tribute to their little angel is close by.
Anytime you drive by, it just makes me remember Brooklyn, and it's always nice to know that I helped with that building.
Today we're installing our sculpture Imagine. Isn't that cool how they just kind of fly through the air? We have 10 people working here, and she's like flying. We're working on our first piece. We're installing the first one. Holes are drilled. I don't want to pinch those wires. They're pulling the wires, and now we're going to grout it.
All right.
And cement it in. Let's try it just a little bit this way.
Now, after 18 months of planning and manufacturing, the artwork is home.
Push your leg that way. No, the other way. Oops.
The 5 bronze children take up permanent residence at the corner of 84th and Dodge in Omaha. One of the most prominent and visible sites in the city.
And it really says that we are children. Children are what we do each and every day. They're not just something that we do as part of what we do, but it is our total focus.
That's our last little girl. I was working with some of the building colors, and I wanted to pull that kind of teal green into the piece, then also the cinnamon color. So I wanted this to really work with the building and coordinate with it as best as possible. Yeah, I think it's perfect.
And this glassed-in corner stairwell is transformed into a vertical art gallery. Here, workers weld and buff that 7,000-pound spire, which carries the artwork up through the stairwell, eventually holding 19 illuminated umbrellas.
We put them on with the frame only, dry fit them, see if I like the position, take them off, thread the wires through, put the shell on, and then install the piece for a final fit.
Through this glass, thousands of LED lights will constantly change the color and mood of the piece, glowing outside the medical center.
I think it's gone great, and it's looking better than I thought it would.
Early on in the building process, engineers from HDR decided this staircase should be glass rather than brick. Brian Nielsen and Bob Holm had the vision to turn this stairwell into a showplace.
What I try to do is look at both art and architecture as one and totally encompassing piece. What we do is, as architects, is dream and design. We take the influences of the client, the users, the forms and functions that they need within the facility, and we try and design a building that is pleasant to the eye as well as the users and the inside space as well.
You know when you're not feeling good? How you want someone to be really, really nice to you? Someone who knows you inside and out. Who will take your mind off things and care for you until you're all better? We have those. They're called nurses. Children's Hospital and Medical Center. We know children.
We've been struggling a little bit. Probably the big issues are with all the threads. Each one of these umbrellas has got a lot of components that bolt together. They jam up on us every now and then, and it's testing us.
As those sculptures start to rise 7 stories high,
Hi, America.
we meet a boy who's endured 7 surgeries.
This is my monkey. He likes to jump a lot.
It's his wit and energy you'll remember, though. This animated 9-year-old spent months on life support and years hooked up to oxygen just to stay alive.
I had to go to Children's Hospital so they could fix my heart because it just broke.
Seth Guffey had a rough start at life.
When he was 7 hours old, that's when he had his first surgery, and they removed the lower left lobe of his lung.
Giant cysts in his lungs were crowding his heart.
There's a lot of memories, good and not so good. In fact, this one picture here, that was, you remember? Yeah, that was our Christmas present. It was December 25th, year 2000. As a Christmas present, my wife got to hold Seth for the first time. I still remember he was on the ventilator and all the IV tubes and PICC tubes, he was just hooked up to everything, but I was too scared to hold him. I was all the tubes and noise, and I let her do it. She had no problems.
But now he can hold me whenever he wants.
Yes. And I don't drop you that much either.
It wasn't until the Guffey family moved to the Omaha area months later that they got the diagnosis and treatment Seth needed.
They saved him. They diagnosed the problem within the first week we were here.
Pulmonary hypertension, high blood pressure in the lungs was making Seth weak and out of breath.
Yeah, I can't really get it far up.
With heart surgery and daily medication,
As you see, I already have my pill in here.
Seth is off oxygen.
This is lightning speed.
And even better, he's playing like other kids.
It's amazing. Emotionally, it tears at your heart, to see that, hey, he's just like the neighborhood kids. He's keeping up with them.
And catching up on all the kid stuff he's missed. but he still needs frequent visits to his cardiologist.
So is this between the two hospitals now, or?
During this checkup,
Let's do this finger. You gotta write down your heart rate. All right, you go at your own pace, okay?
they're testing his endurance.
We're about 2 minutes in, so we gotta do about 4 more minutes. How you doing, okay? Good. You're not getting tired yet?
Nope.
Nope, all right.
A 6-minute workout he completes like a champ.
We're done.
Short of breath? No?
Next, doctors get a peek at his heart
Right up underneath that chinny chin chin, remember?
with an echocardiogram.
There you go. Good job. I'm getting a really good picture.
Like every child patient here, Seth is a celebrity.
They always say, hey, you're the mayor of cardiology.
Go. All right, step away. You are 4 feet 1.5 inches.
In clinics like this one, the art of healing means a hands-on approach,
Pretty awesome place.
coordinating his medical care, reassuring his parents,
You been running around?
Yeah.
You did good on your 6-minute walk test.
Thanks.
and taking time to share a laugh or two.
Why did the sailors' children fail their alphabet?
I don't know.
Their ABCs? Why do they fail?
I don't know.
Because they get lost at sea.
Oh, wow. Good.
It's medicine as an art form in a place that captures the essence of what it's like to be a child.
Just seeing something that inviting as you come into the hospital, the colors, the particular design itself will reassure you that this is a place of caring, a place of healing, and a place to welcome children.
Look at that. Don't they look good?
As night falls on this 18-month project,
Oh, I love those colors.
Imagine takes on a new life,
That's pretty.
and it's seen in a new light.
But right there, it looks great.
It's time to program the 3,500 LED lights.
When you go to the red color, you know, on the spire, if you make that a little more of an orange.
The artist continues his work from across the street.
That's neat.
As a lighting engineer programs the patterns and colors
There's a yellow in there.
inside the hospital.
Endless combinations. Especially with the staircase, we can come up with we could sit here all night.
In fact, there are 16 million possible color and pattern combinations. They'll change with the seasons and mood of the moment. Light patterns as varied as the young patients who come here for treatment.
Hello, world.
And the man who imagined it
A sense of relief that it actually is, everything's working, but this is really the fun part when we get to play with the color and the excitement. That looks fabulous. It makes the hospital a place that might not be a scary place now, but it's a place that has that wonderful sense of nurturing and caring.
a project that embodies the spirit of those who heal.
I have the best job in the world. Absolutely.
The art of medicine and art, companions in healing, symbolized in a piece called Imagine.